Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Process Street monthly webinar, an introduction to Process Street. My name is Blake Bailey, and I'll be your host for today, and I lead the customer success team here at Process Street. During our roughly 45-minute webinar, we'll go through some of the basics of Process Street, some of the newer features that we're really excited to introduce to you, and take some time at the end to answer your questions. Process Street is the simplest way to manage recurring workflows for your team. Using our system of templates and checklists, you can effectively store your institutional knowledge, collaboratively complete all of your most important tasks, record valuable data using forms, and automate your workflows with over 750 different integrations. Because our platform contains all of these exciting features, our clients report that Process Street saves them valuable time, enables consistent high-quality work, increases overall accountability, and helps them to onboard their new employees quickly and efficiently. Understandably, these benefits have made Process Street one of the highest rated services out there, with hundreds of extremely positive reviews on sites like Capterra and GetApp. So let's get into exactly why people love Process Street so much by diving into my example organization. Welcome to my Process Street organization, Manhattan Management Company. We're a totally hypothetical consulting agency that helps Fortune 500 companies manage their HR, marketing, and accounting operations. Before joining Process Street, we were spending a lot of unnecessary time and effort trying to ensure that everything was being completed according to our standard operating procedures, accounting for lost records, and generally having to actually complete everything that needed to be done. Process Street allowed us to free ourselves from having to worry about what was going to happen if any of our long-standing employees decided to leave, or if our new employees were following our standard procedures, and if our day-to-day operations were running as they should. We found that the native system of templates and checklists allows us to create repeatable workflows that are easily transferred into actionable, automated, and collaborative instances for every client. The folders that you see here have given us the ability to not only separate our diverse work functions, but also to separate what our employees and clients are able to see when they sign in, allowing them to get in and get working without confusion. When we couple those folders with groups, we can set specific permissions for an entire set of people and add and remove people easily from that group without having to go into every folder, template, and checklist every time. One of the biggest ways that Process Street has helped us out is in our onboarding of new employees. Our new employee onboarding template allows us to ensure that each and every employee receives the same set of instructions and is passed through the same set of required approvals and regulations. Here is a checklist for hiring Frank Underwood, based off of our overall new employee onboarding template. The system of assignments and due dates ensures that each part of the process is completed by the right person on time every time. Process Street's form fields allow us to record information about the prospective employee and even pass that information along to other parts of the same process, other processes, and even out to other services without duplicating our effort. Using comments and mentions, I can work collaboratively with my team and specifically reach out regarding questions I have regarding a task. We were able to embed lots of other things right into our checklist as well, like files and videos about performing reference checks. This is great for providing our HR staff with relevant information right within our checklist. Once an employee has passed through the interview process, we can use an email widget to send an email right from the checklist to offer them the job. The email has even been pre-formatted with all of the employee's information from previous steps. Since we use HelloSign to manage the signature process for our important documents, we were glad to discover that we could integrate Process Street with HelloSign and over 750 other services easily by using Zapier. When we're done with the checklist, we can click on Complete this checklist to close out this particular case and move on to others that need attention. There's even a little bit of confetti that falls too, making it just that much better. Since we aren't actually done with this one, I'll go ahead and reactivate it. Speaking of other checklists, we can navigate to the Template Overview tab to see who else is being onboarded and where they are in the process. This is especially handy for our managers to get a full report on what everyone is doing. From here, we can see active, completed, and archived checklists in one place. I can see who's assigned, when it's due, what tasks have and have not been completed, and even the information that's been submitted into form fields within each checklist. From the template menu, we were able to do a number of different important things, such as sharing our template with people inside and outside of our organization, controlling our permissions, scheduling checklists to run automatically at specific dates and times, moving, copying, archiving, and deleting templates, as well as exporting our templates and checklists in a printable or PDF format, and or checklist data as a CSV. Tagging a template gives us one more level of organization. This organization enables us to quickly filter through templates regardless of what folder that they live in. As a team that constantly has things that need to get done, it can get pretty hard to keep track of what needs our attention immediately and what can wait. Inbox allows us to do just that. Inbox is where my team and I can see our most pressing tasks and checklists sorted by their due dates and are able to be filtered by the teammate or group that they've been assigned to. This has been instrumental in helping us to get what we call inbox zero, since we can easily complete or snooze tasks and checklists right from here. Once I'm done with those, I can move on to getting ahead of the ball by seeing everything that is upcoming. All right, so before I get into showing you how we put these templates together, I'll take a moment to answer a few of your questions up to this point. As a reminder, you can submit your questions by using the questions and answers button at the top of your screen. All right, so I see one question here from Rose. Hello, Rose. This question is, can guests be assigned to groups? So the answer to that is no. So guests are typically used as, they might be your client, they might be somebody that you just have on as sort of like an intern or something of those sorts of roles, where pretty much they're not able to work as collaboratively. Essentially, they're not able to see other people's checklists. They're not able to see the template overall very often. They're not able to do other sorts of things like that. So a guest is more or less somebody who you just want running a checklist. If you want them to be added to a group, as in being able to work collaboratively or being able to be assigned to a lot of things, you're going to want to make them a member. So members have the ability to be assigned to groups, but also are able to be assigned to scheduled checklists, able to be assigned to essentially tasks within the template that allows you to pre-assign those tasks so that every time that that template, or rather that checklist is run from that template, those same people will be assigned to those tasks. And again, those people have to be members or they have to be within a group, which means that they also still have to be members. Okay, so I have an anonymous attendee that's asking to see if Process Tree is meant to replace task management tools such as Asana. Well, you can, but if you don't feel like doing that, or maybe some people on your team don't feel like changing over, you can definitely integrate the two and make it work. Here's a question: can the client onboarding be duplicated and reused for other new employees? Absolutely. That's the exact way that we use Process Tree. So templates are just the basis of what you're running your checklist off of. So a template is sort of like your SOP. It's your institutional knowledge. It's the way that you're going to do it over and over and over again. So the way that I typically like to explain this is like, say you have a monthly accounting procedure, right? So it's something that you're going to go through all your receipts. You're going to make sure that everything is done properly, that you're accounting for all essentially what's coming in, what's going out, right? And so your template for that is your monthly accounting procedure. However, the checklist would be March, February, April, May, etc., right? So you can definitely use it for each client going through. You can even batch process if that's how you want to do it. All right, so I have a question here from Donald. He said, in terms of the example you use for employee onboarding, does this have to be manually run, or is there a way for it to be started automatically when we are doing such a process? Excuse me, the answer to that is absolutely. So there's a couple ways that you can automatically start a process. On one hand, you can automatically start a process by scheduling it. So what I showed you before, I'll actually go in here and show you how to schedule something. Boom. So going into this scheduler right here, what you can do is that you can actually pick which template you want to use, and then you can actually have it pre-filled with a specific type of name format, right? And you can actually assign people and set it to repeat weekly, monthly, daily, yearly. It doesn't have to be once a month. It can be every 2 months, 3 months, etc. And you're able to do this setting it off of every specific day, or maybe a particular day of the month, day of the week, etc. And by doing that, you're able to have them created automatically. Now, another way that you can have them created automatically is by using Zapier. Definitely, we're going to go through Zapier in a little bit later, but the idea is that you can actually hook Process Street up with another service that you use. So, for a good example here, I think you would ask about the employee onboarding. So, say that you receive an email, right? It's an email that's going to say new employee needs to be onboarded or something of that nature. What you can do is you can set up a filter in Zapier so that a checklist will be automatically created when you receive that email to your inbox. Now, that checklist will not only be created, you can also have entire form fields, all of the information about that employee filled out from the email or from any other sort of services that you use, and also have people pre-assigned, have due dates assigned, that sort of a thing. Pretty much everything that you would have done manually is done automatically. And you can do that every single time, which is realistically the way that people use Process Street the best. And so the last question is, can we hire a Process Street consultant to build our repeating processes? And the answer to that is also yes. So reach out to our support@process.st, or, and again, I'm going to go over this later in the broadcast, don't worry, but you can also click contact support if you need help with this, or if you are working with an account rep here at Process Street, you can also ask them directly. But either way, if you ask any of those channels that you're interested in having somebody to come in and build your processes, hook up integrations, do any of that sort of stuff that you maybe don't want to do, or maybe might be a little bit too complicated, don't worry about it. We've got you covered. Now, let's get into how we built these templates. So when we were starting out, we clicked on the New button to bring up our options for creating new templates, folders, and tags in Process Street. Now, creating a brand new process can be daunting, but luckily, Process Street created a host of pre-made templates that allowed us to get a head start. There are over 100 different pre-made templates across 27 different categories to choose from. Since we have all the templates that we need, I'm actually going to show you how we built one that we already have. So this is the template that we run when we are considering a partnership with a new business. To build or edit this template, we'll want to click the Edit this template button from the right-hand template menu. Once in the template editor, you have full control over everything that a template has to offer. If you don't like the name of your template, you can easily change it by simply clicking the name of the template while in the editor. Over on the left side, you can see our tasks and headings. Tasks are the items that you actually check off when completing a checklist, while a header is used mainly as a divider and cannot be checked off. Both tasks and headers can contain content in the same way, and to make a task into a header, simply add, sorry, let me go down this one, simply add a colon, and to make it back into a task, remove that colon, just like that. You can drag your tasks up and down to change the order of your tasks, and you can add new tasks by hitting the Enter key, and remove them by hitting the Backspace key. You can even duplicate entire tasks, including all of their content, by clicking the Duplicate button from the bottom of the task menu here. We don't actually need two of these tasks, so I'll go ahead and delete it, which I can also do by using the Delete button. There we go. So once inside of the task, you can add content and interactive elements by using the Process Street widgets. There are 5 main types of widgets in Process Street: text fields, media, form fields, sub-checklists, and the email widget. The text field allows you to provide textual information to whomever is running a checklist. You can even format the text however you like by bolding, italicizing, underlining your text. You can also change the size of the text, add indentation, sorry, it's right here, add indentation, and insert links, numbered lists, and bullet points, and variables. Variables are bits of information that are either metadata about the active checklist, template, or user running the checklist, or are pulled directly from any form fields that you've created. Now, the media widget allows you to insert files, images, and videos directly into your checklist. Videos embedded into templates can be played directly from the checklist, which is really handy for providing multiple different ways to provide information to our staff beyond text. Form fields are the bread and butter of Process Tree, and there are 8 main types. Single line and paragraph text fields allow the person who is completing the checklist to record shorter and longer quantities of data directly into the checklist. The email and web address fields are great for ensuring that the data being collected is of the proper format. The file upload field gives the person running the checklist a place to upload any documents right into the checklist. This is great for when a potential business partner is submitting important documents to us that we need to verify. Now, the date field ensures that any dates submitted to the checklist are always in the same format. And when clicked in an active checklist, will open a calendar, which makes it much easier to decide on a date to officially start our partnership. The drop-down field is useful for providing a specific set of options to choose from, making it easier to decide exactly what kind of partnership we're dealing with. Finally, the hidden field is handy for passing data along inside of a checklist as a variable, without actually showing the contents of the field to whomever is running the checklist. The sub-checklist is the next type of widget and can be useful for keeping track of smaller tasks that make up the larger overall task. And finally, our last widget is the email widget. The email widget lets us have custom drafted emails sent from right within our checklist, using whichever email client you like best. Now, these are the basics of creating and editing templates in Process Street. And now that we're done with all of our edits for now, I'll make sure to click on Save Changes to push our draft live, and then click on Sure Do to also update all of our existing checklists as well. Now, while Process Street always keeps a draft of your edits, you won't see them go live until you save them. Make sure to keep that in mind the next time you're editing your template. There we go. So in that last template, I showed you our email widget. You actually have 2 different ways of sending emails automatically from your process. You can either use the email widget, as we just saw, or you can connect Process Street to your favorite email client through Zapier. As I mentioned previously, Zapier connects Process Street to any of its 750 different services, which include all of the popular tools that you are likely already using. By putting these things together with Process Street, we're then able to use automation to start having our workflows initiated and carried out without our assistance. Automatically sending emails is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to automation. Using Zapier, you can do literally millions of different combinations of things, like updating your CRM, sending calendar invites, uploading files to and from your process, posting to social media, updating your website, and much, much more. Here in our employee onboarding checklist, we have quite a few ways that we've replaced ourselves with automation. To start, this checklist is automatically created, assigned, given a due date, and pre-filled with data when someone applies to our company via the type form on our website. After we've conducted an interview and decided that they should get the job, we check off a single task that sends a pre-written, personalized, congratulatory email to the candidate. No typing required. And once we've called references and agreed upon a salary, we check another task to automatically send over a customized offer letter via HelloSign to be signed digitally. And once they sign the document and have agreed to a start date, we check off this task to schedule their orientation in both of our calendars automatically through Google Calendar. Finally, now that their orientation is scheduled, their offer letter is signed, and everything is in place, we send one last email to confirm that their orientation and start date and close out, to confirm their orientation and start date and close out the hiring process. Boom, there we go. Now, there are a lot of automations going on here, so I'll pick the last one to show you how it works in its most simple form. Once we created this template, complete with all of the tasks and form fields we wanted, we made sure to run at least one example checklist before jumping into Zapier. Now, here in Zapier, we then clicked on Make a Zap to create a new Zap, but I'll show you it completed to save a bit of time. There we go. Okay. Now, here, you can see that we connected Process Street as the trigger and set the specific trigger to when a new task was checked. Now, we chose the employee onboarding template as the trigger template and the confirm orientation and deliver schedule option as the trigger task. For our action, we connected my Gmail account and set each of the options to be predetermined based off of data pulled from Process Street. We set it to send an email to the employee's email, or rather the new employee's email, to BCC the person who checks off the task, to send the email from me with the name as Manhattan Management, and to include their name in the subject line, and finally to include some pre-formatted text, pre-formatted and personalized text in the body. Once we were done setting this up, we then tested this Zap to make sure that everything works as it should. And there we go. And finally, as you can see, our automatically completed and sent email direct from our checklist with no additional typing involved arrived as it should. So now that you've seen how we built one of our processes complete with automation, let's take a look at how we manage permissions and settings on templates, folders, and our organization as a whole. Now, when handling sensitive HR-related information about our employees, we want to make sure that only certain members of our organization can see and edit our HR documents. To control this, we have set specific permissions on our HR folder, which you can access by clicking the settings wheel next to the folder name and then assign members, as you just saw me do. From here, you can see that only our HR group can even see that this folder exists, let alone access and edit the templates and checklists it contains. To control permissions on our templates only, we can click on the settings wheel for the template and then share template to see who has access and what level of permission each person has. Guests can only have can view own access on things, meaning that they can only view their own checklist and nobody else's. Members and admins can have up to can edit access, meaning that they can not only see their own checklist, but everyone else's, and can even edit the template itself. Admins always have can edit access on all folders, templates, and checklists, regardless of what setting that you've set for them. Now, to control your organization settings overall, all you need to do is click the name of your organization up here in the header. And to control your own personal account settings, simply click on your profile picture on the top right of the page to expose the drop-down menu, and then click on My Profile and Settings to expose the rest of your personal account settings. Now, I know that we've covered a lot in a short amount of time. However, everything that we covered today and more can be found by clicking on the Help tab here on the bottom right of the page. From here, you can access all of our over 100 help articles and refer to them directly while actually building your templates and running your checklist in Process Street. You can also contact support directly from this window. Boom, that's me right there. I'll probably respond to you. I'd also recommend checking out our blog and help site, which can be found by going to process.st/blog and process.st/help, respectively, of course, or by looking at them directly from the help tab right here. Blog, podcast, contact support, self-help. There you go. All right. It's about that time to answer some more of your questions. I'm going to bring up your questions now to start answering. Okay, so I have a question from Praveen. Is this product cloud-based? And his worry is that if he decides to stop using the product, which we hope you never will you guys give us the backup of data? So our product is cloud-based. Everything that you see in Process Street is stored in Amazon Web Services. It's stored off-site, so it's very, very secure and it's distributed. So you should be quite fine, and we have no plans of going anywhere. However, if you need to export any of your data, you have lots of options in Process Street. So first off, as I mentioned before, you can export all of your checklist data. So everything that's been entered into all of your checklists, information about who completed what and when, you can export as a CSV, which is, if you don't know what that is, it's pretty much just a spreadsheet that you can download into Excel. You can also print templates and checklists as PDF, or print them directly into actual paper format to allow you to keep them for your own records or to work through them if maybe you're out in the field. I have an anonymous person that asked, does it sync with Gmail Calendar? Definitely. So in Zapier, as long as you actually have something that has connected with Zapier, which chances are it has, considering that they have over 800 things that have connected with it, and Google Calendar being the second thing that's listed here, definitely connects with Zapier. You can also definitely connect Process Street with Zapier. That's awesome because I use it personally for any of my sort of things, and especially leading the customer success team here, to book appointments and to put events in my calendar, just make sure that things are running as they should. So Kimberly asked us, she said, this whole client onboarding thing looks a bit scary for a non-techie person like myself. Is there another suggestion of a checklist that would be a bit simpler to start with for someone who isn't very computer savvy as myself? So we know that Process Street is used by people from all sides of the spectrum. We have people that I talk to every single day who maybe they haven't used computers as much, they haven't been as introduced to things like Zapier or other sort of tools like that. And then we have people who are developers who have built things that are maybe even more advanced than Zapier. So knowing that we have a very wide spectrum, we make sure that our product addresses all of your needs. So to begin, one of the first things that you'll definitely want to use is our pre-made templates. So our pre-made templates, which again you can find by clicking New and then Pre-made Template, is going to allow you to get going with minimal effort. And then, if you have any questions about Zapier or anything like that, please feel free to reach out, and we'll be very happy to help you get started. And if you upgrade to our business plan, we also provide specialized and tailored onboardings for you and your entire team to make sure that you're going and using our product as best as you could. Dave asked, can you push information entered into templates over to form fields in Airtable? And the answer to that is also definitely. So again, using Zapier, you can integrate your template with your Airtable through Zapier. Specifically, the way that we would want to do this is maybe if you check off a task is going to push this data across. Every time somebody checks off a specific task that you say that you want to use to push data from Process Street to Airtable, Zapier will understand that and push all of your data straight into an Airtable, or if maybe you're a Google user, it'll push to a Google Sheet, or if you're an Office 365 user, it'll push it into your online Excel document. Samarth asked, how many choices can I add in the drop-down field? You can add as many as your heart desires. The way to add more fields to the sub-checklist is the same way that you add tasks. All you have to do is click on the end of the previous task and click the Enter key or Return key, depending on what kind of computer you're using. So Shauna asked, how do we enforce task dependencies? So at this moment, the best way to do that is to manually indicate that somebody needs to do this specifically and that nobody else should touch it. You can also use what we call a checklist run link. Excuse me, let me pull that up here. You can also use what we call a checklist run link to essentially initiate another checklist by clicking this link from within your process. So if there's a step that you don't want the people that are running through that to see, you can have them click that run link to initiate a brand new checklist with only the tasks that you want that other person to see. So maybe the approver. Otherwise, you can use essentially a manual system where you indicate specifically that only certain individuals are able to complete these tasks. Uh, but I'm very, very, very happy to announce that coming up very, very soon, so in one of these upcoming webinars, you guys should pay attention, we'll announce this, but coming up very soon, we're announcing a thing called workflows. This is going to allow you to do a lot of things, including conditional, essentially branching, a lot of things that you see, maybe a lot of form services that you may use, into our process to allow you to go with if A, then these set of steps, and B, if these set of steps. But we're also going to be introducing other sorts of features, things like mandatory required fields and fields that are going to only be able to be completed by specific individuals. So I have an anonymous attendee that has asked, do you integrate with Salesforce? Definitely. Again, with any of these integrations, as long as they integrate with Zapier, which again is over 800 different services, then you can integrate that service with Process Street seamlessly. So I got a question about, is there an iPhone app? At the moment, there's not an iPhone or Android or any of those sorts of things apps for Process Street, although it is definitely on our radar. For the moment, though, our service works beautifully through your mobile or maybe iPad or whatever other sort of technology gadget that you use. It works beautifully in your browser. Go ahead and give it a try. And if you don't think it works beautifully, definitely let us know and we'll make updates to it. Although again, our mobile apps are definitely on our radar for the very near future. Ashley asked, what was the link for the community shared checklist? I'll go ahead and pull it up for you. So if you go to process.st/checklist, not checklists, so hopefully the next person who watches this recording doesn't stop right when I tell them that advice, then you'll be able to pull up a lot of our either in-house, you can see right here, made checklists, or checklists that have been made by people just like you. So Chris asked us, can you push Process Street fields into Adobe PDF fields? And the answer to that is also yes. So one of the services that Zapier uses to push that information, there's a couple ways to do this, so don't think this is the only way. You can use a service called Web Merge, and this allows you to pull data from Process Street through Zapier into a pre-formatted PDF of your choice. So JL asks, can you rearrange items in a sub-checklist? The answer to that is sort of. What you would want to do in that specific case is actually add a sub-checklist item underneath the item that you're working in by clicking the Enter key, same way you do with a task, and then copy and paste that subject list item into that new blank subject list item, and then delete the old one that you were working with. So Joseph asks, is Zapier part of Process Street? How do you access it from Process Street? The answer is realistically no. So Zapier is its own service. We just happen to use it a lot, just as a lot of services also do. And you can access it by going to zapier.com and signing up. Now, once you're there, all you do is you connect Zapier, you connect your account as you're creating, you click Make a Zap, and you're going to click Process Street as either the trigger or the action, depending on if you want something to go into Process Street, it being the action, or out of Process Street, it being the trigger. Either way, you're going to have to connect your Process Street account, which it'll lead you through every single step, so don't worry. So Tina asked, for processes that are done every month, she asked if we should use the template. Yes. So the template is what your checklists are based off of. So if you're going to be doing a process every single month, and you know either the day of the month, or that could be the first Monday or that sort of a thing, or maybe the 5th of the month, for example, what you're going to want to use is what we call the scheduled checklist. And as I showed this before, what you're going to want to do is just kind of choose, and we'll go ahead to monthly here. Sorry, there we go. So you're going to repeat this every 1, 2, 3 months, whatever you like, whatever you feel comfortable with, and whatever you need. You can choose that by day of month or day of week. So between those two options, you're going to want to set your schedule to run your template, which means realistically running a new checklist off of that template, based off of that specific time frame that's going to suit you and your team best. Bryn asked, for Zapier, does that functionality come with a standard subscription? Yes, it absolutely does. And same person, so Virgie just asked, can we start from scratch? Yeah, So in addition to the pre-made templates, which again, we have over 120 different pre-made templates in Process Street, you can also choose to create a blank template. And our widgets allow you to pull in different bits of content, whether that be text or image or video or files or anything of that nature, to allow you to provide information to the people that you have running your checklist. And also the form fields and email widgets that allow you to collect information and even send that information along as emails only within Process Street. And it's really, really quick, really easy to get this done. If you have any questions about it, again, you can either access our Help tab, which will be able to pull up any articles about literally anything in Process Street. Or if you still have questions, you please feel free to contact us at support. We'll be happy to help. Okay, so what's the difference between a template and a checklist? And is the checklist always inside of a template? So a template, and I'm going to go with that same example that I provided a little bit earlier. The template is essentially your SOP. It is what the standard operating procedures, the things that you want people to run off of. And you can manipulate and edit that after you've created it the first time, because again, you're always going to see better ways to do your process. And that's what we really encourage here at Process, which is why we've made it very easy to edit your templates and update your existing checklists. But your template is like your monthly accounting or maybe your onboarding process for your new employees, your clients. And the checklist is going to be an instance of that template. So your checklist is going to be individual times that the template is going to be run. So if it's an employee onboarding or a client onboarding, it's going to be an individual client or an individual employee, respectively. And your checklist is always associated with your template because we're so process-based here. We want to focus on making sure that the times that you're running that template, running that process, is coupled with your actual process. And using our folders and groups and things of that nature, you're able to actually segment them and combine them in ways that are effective for you and your team. Shauna asked, if I have 200 leads that I want to import as 200 checklists from a Google Sheet, can we import that data? And she said this would be a one-time import just to bring everything current. And yeah, so the way that you would do that, let me go ahead and pull it up for you. If you go and you click the template menu, which you can either access by clicking on the template itself or clicking on this cog next to the template's name, and then clicking on more, and then here where it says run multiple checklists. What this allows you to do is upload a CSV file, which is essentially a spreadsheet of where each row is the checklist name, the due date, the email, essentially each email of people that you want to be assigned. You can actually have as many of those as you want. You upload those in, and what that'll do is it'll allow you to run as many checklists from a specific template as you want. The one that I clicked here was, I believe, the client onboarding. So if I had a bunch of clients that I onboarded or were in the process of onboarding before I got into Process Street, I would just click here, click more, click run multiple checklists, and then I can, if I didn't know necessarily what that specific spreadsheet format was, I could download this example CSV file, edit it, put in all my information, just make sure that it fits, upload it, and then run multiple checklists to get them all into Process Street. So Virgie asked, can we delete all templates active or inactive? So you definitely can delete them. Let me go ahead and show you how to do that. So if you go again to this template menu right here, then click more. So you have a couple options for deleting. You have actually completely deleting a template, or you have archiving the template. And for me, if you've ever been in an onboarding call with me, which many of you, as I see in this participant list, have, hello, welcome. It's very nice to see you again. You can definitely, I would recommend using archive rather than delete, because delete is, well, realistically, as it says, you are completely deleting it forever and it's gone for good, and there's very little chance that we'll ever be able to get it back. So as much as you can, tell you and your employees to probably not delete them, rather archive them. It's going to do the same thing ostensibly than deleting them, where it'll disappear from your home screen or whatever folder that you're viewing it in, but it won't actually delete it. And if you really wanted to see them again, you would just go to that folder, for example, on the home folder here, and click show inactive, which I don't have any inactive ones. But if you did, you'd be able to see all the inactive, as in archived, templates that are underneath this specific folder. And again, you can do this for any other folders as well. Doing this rather than deleting it will make sure that you can always go back and access them, but you're also making sure that they're not popping up and clouding up your view while you're going through and actually trying to access all these things. All right, so that's about all the time that we have for today. And we will respond to the rest of your questions via email over the next day or so. Thank you all for attending today's broadcast, and I hope that this helped you get a better understanding of how Process Street can help you manage and automate your tasks in your business. If you have any other questions, please feel free to submit them through the app using the contact support button, or by emailing us at support@process.st. Please join us next month to hear about any new features or use cases between then and now. Thanks again, and have a wonderful day.